Good morning and welcome, members and guests, to RPEA's 2021 annual meeting. I'm Diana Hinchcliffe, president of RPEA. We had hoped to have this meeting in person after so many months of Zoom meetings. In fact, we started planning it that way. However, out of an abundance of caution due to the continuing COVID pandemic, we decided to keep everyone safe and have a virtual event. Before we get started, thank you to our meeting sponsors, Worksite Benefits and Here in America. We appreciate your support. Once again, we have a great lineup of presentations. We'll begin with our business meeting. Our Executive Director, Ed Farrell, will announce the results of our election of officers and board members, and will introduce our board and chapter chairs. Mary Fry, our Executive Vice President and Chair of our Membership Recruitment and Retention Committee, will give an update of RPEA's activities over the past year and remind us of why membership in RPEA and the benefits we provide is a great value. Next, a representative from the Employee Benefits Division of the Department of Civil Service will join us by video to talk about what's new with NYSHEP and other retiree benefits. This is always a favorite of our attendees who have the opportunity to ask questions. Because we're virtual, if you have questions, we'll be on call to respond. Please send your questions through our Facebook page, send an email to mail@rpea.org, or call 518-869-2542. That's 518-869-2542. We'll answer questions at the close of the meeting, or our benefits expert will respond to you as quickly as possible. Charisse Wells, our media consultant from Corning Place Communications, will tell us how we're getting our name out to encourage our fellow retirees to join RPEA. And Ed Farrell will recap the legislative year. Finally, we're pleased, as always, to present New York State Comptroller and RPEA member Thomas DiNapoli as our keynote speaker. If you're watching this and not a member of RPEA, I hope you'll like what you hear and decide to become a member. Go to our website, rpea.org, for all the information you need. If you're already a member, please tell your retiree friends to join. Personal communication from you by phone, email, text, or in person is a very effective way to recruit members. Tell them we government retirees have worked hard to earn our benefits, and RPEA protects them. Before we begin our business meeting, some thank yous are in order. Thanks to our chapter chairs for the great job they do for our members. The chapter chairs need your help. Each chapter has a steering committee that plans and organizes meetings and does the work of maintaining the chapter. They need you to step up and volunteer your time to make sure they continue to offer meetings and events for members. RPEA wouldn't be possible without the time, talent, and skills of our staff. If you've called them with a question, asked for help, read an RPEA or chapter newsletter, attended a board or chapter meeting, or received something from RPEA in the mail, it was because the staff made it possible. Special thanks to Executive Director Ed Farrell and staff Louise Mabin, Kathleen Liberty, Sharon Beauregard, and Dean Karlaftis. They provide the benefits and personal service you expect as an RPEA member. Please stay safe and healthy. I look forward with hope and optimism to when we can gather together in person in 2022. Now, here's Ed Farrell to report the results of our election of officers and board members.
Thank you, Diana. The ballots have been received and certified. Nearly 900 members participated. The results of the election are officers for 2-year terms. Diana, once again, has been elected president, Diana Hinchcliffe. Mary Fry, executive vice president. Barry Eisenberg, first vice president. Ed Brown, Treasurer, Tom Lally, Assistant Treasurer, Dick Rice, Secretary, and Mark Rosenholz, Assistant Secretary. Board members who were elected for a 3-year term were Dawn Bennett, Alan Dorn, Tim Elliott, Jody Fox, Jim Rulison, Darylyn Seach Osiello, and Pat Walsh. The results are final and certified.
Thanks, Ed. It's now my pleasure to introduce our Board of Directors. They represent all regions of New York State and also Florida, where some of our members live. Some are chapter chairs. Together, they bring many years of experience to governance of RPEA. Ed just mentioned some of them, but I want to go through them again for you. Mary Fry is our Executive Vice President. Barry Eisenberg is our First Vice President. Edward Brown is our Treasurer. Thomas Lally is our Assistant Treasurer. Richard Rice, Secretary. Mark Rosenholz, Assistant Secretary. And the others are William Barrett, Dawn Bennett, Timothy Elliott, Tina Farringer, Jody Fox, Paul Moore, James Rulison, Marcia Schumann, Patricia Walsh, and Stanley Winter. And our 2 newest board members, Alan Doran, a past executive director of RPEA, and Darylyn Seach Osiello from our Long Island chapter. If you see these board members, congratulate them and thank them for doing a great job for us. And a special thank you goes to Bob Riley, who is going off the board. Bob served with commitment and dedication and expertly chaired our legislative committee. We appreciate his service. Membership in RPEA includes participation in regional chapters at no extra cost. Here's Ed again to introduce our chapter chairs.
Thank you, Diana. The chapter chairs are as follows: Capital District, Jim Rulison; Mohawk Valley, Elaine Jodick; Central New York, Dawn Bennett; Genesee Valley, Jen Butner; Western New York, Tim Elliott; Mid-Hudson East, Dick Rice; Rockland Orange, Jody Fox and Nancy Hoffman; Westchester Putnam, Judy Bernstein; New York City, Marcia Schumann; Long Island, Joanne Kulak; the Carolinas, Jim Carswell; Northeast Florida, John Grexa; and finally, Florida East Coast, Jan Takaranti.
Next, Mary Fry, our Executive Vice President and Chair of our Membership Recruitment and Retention Committee, has a virtual presentation for us.
Good morning. I'm happy to welcome all of you to our annual meeting, both those of you who are already RPEA members and those who may have joined us today to learn more about RPEA. RPEA is an organization that exists strictly to serve our members, and a strong, vibrant membership is necessary for our success. First, I would like to thank all of our loyal members. We so appreciate your continued membership. Even during the very difficult past year and a half, RPEA has continued to maintain a member retention rate of close to 90%. And many of you have been very generous by making additional contributions in response to our label program, which has been a key factor in maintaining RPEA's financial health. So thank you for that as well. But due to our demographics, we naturally lose members every year, and we struggle to offset those losses by adding new members. And the pandemic has definitely had an adverse effect on our ability to grow our membership. In 2020, we added approximately 600 new members, which is a drop of 25% compared to 2019 and 1/3 less compared to new members added in 2018. To remain viable, we must reverse that trend. Over the past 3 years or so, RPEA has invested in advertising and social media as a way of gaining name recognition and encouraging prospective members to join. We have had some success with that, and Sharice Wells of Corning Place, our media consultant, will be providing more information about those initiatives. And the Membership Committee is actively exploring additional communications to potential members and ways of attracting new members, initiatives that we are working on and hope to roll out in the coming months. Recently, we took a look at where new members received the information about RPEA that caused them to join. As you may know, we send out letters to recently retired public employees on a quarterly basis each year with information about RPEA and a membership application. That effort produced about 50% of our new membership last year. And not surprising, the second most common ways folks learn about RPEA is through information they receive through personal contact by a friend or acquaintance. So I'd like to take this opportunity to talk about the value of RPEA membership and encourage all of you who are members to help us in our recruitment efforts by spreading the word about RPEA. And if you're not a member, encourage you to join. I'll start with the basics. RPEA was established over 50 years ago and is the only organization whose sole mission is to protect the benefits of employees who have retired from public service in New York State. This includes not only former state employees, but also anyone who worked for any public entity in New York, such as towns, villages, school districts, libraries, police agencies, and public authorities. It's important to emphasize that while there are other types of retiree groups out there, RPEA is the only one that is laser-focused on you and your benefits as retirees of New York public employers. And what do members receive for their $30 annual membership fee? Remember, that $30 includes membership for both you and your spouse or domestic partner. Plus, it includes your membership in an RPEA local chapter. The chapters offer you the opportunity to attend social and informational events in most areas of New York State, as well as in Florida and the Carolinas. While most chapter activities have been curtailed due to the pandemic, if you are a member and haven't yet participated in chapter activities, once things return to normal and you're looking to get out and about, I encourage you to go to the RPEA website and check out the chapter section for information about what's available in your area, or watch for mailings from your local chapter. And I just want to give a shout out to the chapter chairs and their steering committee members who are watching today, all of whom are volunteers and who put in a lot of time and effort to provide great programs and activities. Since its inception, first and foremost, RPEA's mission is to protect those benefits you earned during your working years and have been promised to you in retirement. While public pensions are currently protected by the New York State Constitution, your other benefits, most notably health benefits, are not. And they can be at risk. As an example, you may have seen recent news coverage about significant changes to New York City retiree health benefits, which are considered by many to be a substantial reduction for them. How does RPEA protect your benefits? With the assistance of a professional lobbying firm, RPEA is vigilant in tracking proposed legislation that could affect your benefits and lobbies the legislature to act in your best interests. In addition, we keep our membership well informed and up to date on important issues affecting you through mailings, emails, and social media. And when things get critical, we issue a call for action letting you know how to make your voices heard. Not only does RPEA protect the benefits you receive from your former employer, RPEA also offers members access to supplemental benefits such as dental and vision coverage. And while getting information about or help with your benefits can be extremely challenging, as an RPEA member, a simple call to RPEA, which doesn't involve a lengthy automated menu system or a long hold time, gives you access to our professional staff who are extremely experienced and knowledgeable about retiree benefits. They can help you with questions or problems related to Medicare, the New York State Health Insurance Program, and other benefit issues you may have. So as a member, I ask you to help in spreading the word about RPEA. Please share the word about RPEA and the value it provides for a very modest annual fee. And if you're asked for examples of RPEA's accomplishments, here's a few. First, RPEA was the driving force that led to the enactment of the annual cost of living, or COLA, that New York's public sector retirees enjoy. That was enacted in the year 2000 after years of lobbying by RPEA. And in 2017, we led the fight to defeat the proposed New York State Constitutional Convention that could have opened the door to diminishing public employee pensions. And currently, we are actively lobbying against the proposed New York State legislation that would replace all health benefits in the state, including current retiree health benefits, with a single-payer system. In addition to being a dramatic change in the benefit delivery system, the proposal leaves many questions open regarding what would happen to benefits for retirees who live or travel out of state. Now, more than ever, we need any help you can give us in recruiting new members. We know that a personal recommendation is a very effective recruitment tool. Please spread the word by sharing information when you speak with folks who are potential members, by liking or sharing RPEA's informational posts on social media, or by forwarding one of the email updates you receive from RPEA and letting folks know that they too can get information like this delivered directly to their inboxes if they join. You can also direct them to the RPEA website for more information or where they can sign up to receive RPEA email blasts on a trial basis. And if you would like us to send you some RPEA membership applications to hand to folks, you can email us or call the office. We'd be more than happy to send them to you. Each new member you recruit makes a very important contribution to our future. I truly appreciate your taking the time to join us today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Health insurance in retirement is one of the more important benefits we earned as public sector retirees. It's a fact of life that the cost of health insurance never goes down, and premium increases are just something that is routine and we deal with. Within this general context, we're pleased to have a representative from NISHIP on today's program. Sandhya Singh is a program administrator, Program Administrator Unit Manager in the Employee Benefits Division, which oversees NISHIP. I know not all of you are in NISHIP, but the fact is that 50% of you are, and you receive your health insurance from this one provider. Although Sandhya was pre-recorded, we have a specialist from our own RPEA staff here in studio, Sharon Beauregard, and Sharon will field questions which may come up regarding NISHIP. This illustrates one of the best advantages of membership in RPEA, namely that when you have a problem, you can call the office and talk to a real person and get help.
Hello RPEA members. My name is Sandhya Singh, and I work for the Department of Civil Service at the Employee Benefits Division, where we administer the New York State Health Insurance Program, or NISHIP. Topics I'll cover are some NISHIP updates, Medicare, dependent survivor benefits, as well as IRMA reimbursement. Employee Benefits Division, or EBD, administers your benefits, so we handle questions on enrollment, eligibility, and billing. Questions on claims or covered provider services should be directed to your insurance plan. EBD's lines are operational between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. weekdays. We have increased staff over the years, which has helped in reducing wait times. If lines are busy, we do now offer a callback option. EBD can only speak to the policyholder regarding their account due to federal HIPAA law. However, the policyholder can submit a signed release authorizing EBD to speak to a designated person for future calls. We do have our own separate form, different from the insurance plan carriers. If you would like to permit someone else to make changes to your record on your behalf, EBD would require a power of attorney on file. We would still need the HIPAA form to be able to speak with the POA as well. As retirees, you may request to change plans at any time during the year. The only restriction is that once you do so, you must wait 12 months before making another change again. You'll be notified of any rate changes prior to the end of the plan year, usually around November or December. This is always posted on the NISHIP online website. Something retirees ask about is the availability of +1 coverage, intended to cover the enrollee and only their significant other. NISHIP does not currently offer this option. We only allow for either individual coverage or a family plan. This is determined by collective bargaining between NISHIP and unions and extended to all unrepresented groups, including retirees, and presently no change in the structure has been negotiated. The benefit NISHIP offers is for surviving dependents who are covered at the time the policyholder predeceases them. These dependents continue coverage for 3 months at no cost to them. Your dependents would be able to continue NISHIP coverage in their own right beyond this 3-month period, as long as they are covered at the time of your passing. You, as the policyholder, would have had to have 10 years of benefits-eligible service with New York State or a participating employer or agency. For an individual plan, the survivor would pay 10% of the cost of individual coverage. For family plan, they would pay the same plus 25% of the cost of dependent coverage. If you elect a dual annuitant sick leave credit at the time of retirement, this is where that benefit applies to reduce the premium for your dependent survivor. Now just a quick overview about Medicare, the federal health insurance program, and how it coordinates with NISHIP. Part A provides hospital coverage and is free for most people. Part B provides medical coverage and has a standard base premium. Medicare Advantage plans bundle Part A and B and Part D coverage through an HMO. Part D provides prescription drug coverage. Most people are eligible for Medicare at age 65. NISHIP requires members in retiree coverage to enroll in both Parts A and B when first eligible. Once signed up, NISHIP will enroll them in either the Empire Plan's associated Part D plan or their HMO's Medicare Advantage plan. This year, the monthly Part B premium is $148.50. NISHIP reimburses the policyholder the standard Part B premium for each Medicare primary member on the plan. You may see advertisements to enroll in a Medicare product. If you wish to remain enrolled in NISHIP, do not sign up for these other plans. The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services allows enrollment in only one Medicare product at a time, so enrolling in another one will result in your NISHIP canceling. Now I'd like to touch on something that not all NISHIP retirees are aware of: the Income-Related Monthly Adjustment Amount, or IRMA. Social Security may charge an additional amount on top of the Part B standard base premium if a member's reported income falls above certain thresholds. Because NISHIP reimburses for Part B premiums, this includes IRMA Part B charges. Members need to apply for this reimbursement each year they are charged, and EBD accepts applications for up to 3 years prior. Social Security may also charge IRMA for Part D coverage, which is not reimbursed by NISHIP. EBD begins mailing IRMA applications usually around January or February. We have streamlined as much of the process as possible in recent years, resulting in quicker turnaround times for refunds to be issued. We've also updated several publications this year, available online as well as by request. These include the Retiree General Information Book, our Reporting On series, which features some of the Empire Plan's unique programs, our Back to Work for New York State flyer for retirees who are looking to return to active employment with the state, and our On the Road booklet. You may view all publications that have been recently updated on the What's New section of the NISHIP Online website. You can also find other NISHIP updates in the What's New section, including information on COVID-19 related benefits and increased access to providers during the pandemic. Members can reach us by phone between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. weekdays. You can write to us by mail or fax as well. Please be sure to visit our website for a plethora of resources at cs.ny.gov/employee-benefits. Thank you for your time today.
Now, Cherise Wells from Corning Place Communications will provide an update on our media and marketing activities for membership recruitment.
Thank you, Diana. It's great to be with everyone. I hope you and your loved ones are doing well. Even though the world shut down for a while due to the pandemic, RPEA's membership initiatives and communications efforts have adapted and continued throughout the past year and a half. Shortly after revamping RPEA's website and making it easier to navigate and use, membership efforts started making inroads. We even saw RPEA's highest membership retention rate last June, at more than 90%. It has been challenging for all of us not being able to get together in person, but we're looking forward to meetings and events in the future, which will also provide us with more great things to share through our communications efforts. Our goal is to raise awareness and build brand recognition of RPEA through direct marketing and earned media. This year, RPEA could be heard on NPR radio stations across the state, including on WCNY throughout central New York and Syracuse, WSKG in Corning, east to Binghamton, and north up to Norwich, NCPR, which can be heard from Watertown over to Plattsburgh and south into Washington County, as well as WAMC, which can be heard throughout the greater capital region from Kingston up north to Saratoga and out west to Canajoharie. Since theaters were closed during the pandemic, most Western New York playbills did not go to print. As a result, RPEA was refunded and had the opportunity to use those budget commitments for other marketing. Ads ran in the Forever Young magazine and Senior Living Directory in Erie and Niagara counties in February, March, May, and July. A free publication available in Wegmans, Barnes & Noble, Tops, CVS, Tim Hortons, doctors' offices, as well as through direct mail. We've continued to lean on the digital advertising efforts to build brand recognition and awareness of RPEA. Ads continue to run on Google and Facebook. We encourage you to like, comment, and share RPEA's posts if you have a Facebook account. In addition to these efforts, RPEA has been active in the news this year, advocating on your behalf to protect and enhance the benefits that you've earned. Examples of media coverage include a letter to the editor, which ran in the Albany Times-Union on January 22nd, commending Comptroller DiNapoli's pension fund decision to divest from fossil fuels. The Altamont Enterprise wrote on January 25th about a letter RPEA sent to former Governor Cuomo and Health Commissioner Zucker, urging them to establish a pre-registration system to improve COVID vaccine appointment scheduling. Spectrum News Albany and Spectrum's political show, Capitol Tonight, also covered the issue, interviewing Executive Director Ed Farrell on January 26. The story ran in newscasts for 4 consecutive days. On February 2nd, State of Politics, which is the political news website of Spectrum News, covered RPEA's press release following testimony made in front of the state legislature. On February 11th, RPEA vocalized support of a group of lawmakers who demanded a better vaccine appointment system, which was included in an Albany Times-Union story. The weekend of June 4th, Executive Director Ed Farrell appeared on the statewide PBS political program, New York Now, to discuss concerns with the proposed New York Health Act. The interview ran on every PBS station statewide. On June 7th and 8th, RPEA was included in a full-page open letter to legislators, which was printed in the Buffalo News, the Rochester Democrat and Chronicle, the Albany Times-Union, Westchester Journal-News, and Syracuse Post-Standard. The letter opposed the New York Health Act and in total reached nearly 250,000 people. On July 9th, a letter to the editor ran in the Times-Union in opposition of the Climate and Community Investment Act, stating that the bill is not the best way to reduce carbon emissions, especially because it would tax the use of energy that retirees depend on for their health, safety, and quality of life, including gasoline and fuel for cooking and heating their homes. These earned media placements are all part of RPEA's efforts to advocate on your behalf. We are planning ahead for additional earned media opportunities and are continuing our marketing efforts to retain and bring on new members. We encourage you to tell former colleagues, friends, and family if they are retired from state and local government or know someone who will be retiring soon. Encourage them to visit rpea.org or call RPEA to learn more about the value of membership. And now I'd like to hand it over to Executive Director Ed Farrell, who will discuss some of the legislative issues RPEA battled this year, as well as what is on the horizon in the coming legislative session. Over to you, Ed.
Thank you, Charisse. It was another challenging year on the legislative front. The Capitol remained closed to visitors, and of course there was no in-person lobbying at the local level. Nonetheless, we have some victories we want to report. I want to thank our lobbyist, Kevin Cleary, and his associates, Tim Sheridan and Katie Holman, for the excellent job they do in representing our interest. Let's start with the governor's budget. As I mentioned earlier, 50% of all retirees are in NISHIP. The governor's budget had several proposals that were negative as it relates to retirees. He wanted to cap the Medicare reimbursement, and he wanted to eliminate the IRMA reimbursement for those who have higher incomes. RPA fought against these, and we successfully defeated both proposals. Retirees should not be used to balance the state budget. The legislature agreed with us, and we commend them for their help. The next piece of legislation I want to talk about that impacts retirees is the New York Health Act, sometimes referred to as Medicare for All. This act, if passed, would eliminate all health insurance providers, including NYSHIP, and create a new state-run program. It contemplates the loss of existing benefits for public sector retirees. This is specifically referenced in the bill. And there is no place to turn to get benefits if this were to be enacted. If you live out of state and you get benefits through NYSHIP or some local entity, you would not be able to do that any longer because all of those entities would be abolished. The provision in the bill as it relates to out-of-state public sector retirees is totally unworkable. There's language that talks about Medicare and waivers. It's like smoke and mirrors. It's hard to tell whether the state is going to get a waiver from the federal government to take over all the Medicare money. And the state says, the bill contemplates, well, if they don't get it, they're just going to forge ahead anyway. So would Medicare coverage be eliminated for people in New York? Why would that happen? I mean, how could the state eliminate a program which is created by the federal government and we've paid into our entire career? RPA has joined a coalition called the Realities of the Single Payer to help defeat this proposal. I actually have been invited to appear on a panel with the New York Health Plan Association at their annual conference. I think we can all relate to the state's initial foray into state-run health care, namely COVID vaccination and the appointment process. It was a total disaster as it relates to senior citizens. The arrangement set up by the Department of Health where you had to go on and try and make appointments via computer was very difficult for seniors to contemplate. And for the most part, there were no appointments available. And once you went on and logged in, you couldn't get an appointment, but the system didn't save your information. It was a horrible process, and we all remember it, and it was not good. So this act seems to be trying to get at the roughly 4% of the population that is uninsured. But for those of us who have insurance, we don't want to go down this road because it's a scary road. We don't know what is contemplated. We worked our whole careers to get the insurance that we have in retirement, and we don't want to lose it. The next bill I want to talk about is the carbon tax, sometimes referred to as the gas tax. To meet the goals of the Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act, which was passed several years ago, to dramatically reduce greenhouse gas emissions, this legislation, if enacted, would add 55 cents per gallon of gasoline, increase the cost of heating a home by 26%. These are not good things as it relates to seniors, retirees who are on a fixed income. It's a regressive tax, and it's just not the way to go. Retirees, for the most part, especially those upstate and on Long Island, have to use their car to go to the drugstore, run errands. We heat our homes out of necessity. Mass transit is generally not available. To fight climate change, alternative energy options need to be available. The fact is, wind and solar provides only 4% of our energy right now, and electric cars are not a viable option at this time. So it's a really regressive tax used to forge ahead with climate change, but the reality is that most of the money raised by this act has nothing to do with climate change. Money is provided to low and moderate income residents and to community groups in distressed areas. which is not climate change. So if we want to move forward, why not use a progressive tax? Why is this carbon, gasoline tax, et cetera, the only option on the table? I think we all agree that climate change is real and needs to be dealt with, but if you're going to tax residents because they're using carbon products when there is no alternative, what are you achieving? Consumers need a place to turn to change their way of consuming, and those other options generally are not available at this time. The last thing I want to talk about is the COLA. We get calls all the time. You recently, probably in the mail this week, got a notice from the retirement system that the COLA went up 1.4% this year. You'll hear later from the controller, the pension fund had a record year, and it is 99.3% funded, one of the best programs in the country. It's been 20 years since the COLA was enacted. It's time to take a second look at it and figure out something that relates to the real cost incurred by retirees. We've communicated this to the controller, and we will have to work with the legislature because the COLA is in statute. And if it were to be changed, the legislature would have to enact a law to do that. But the time is right. There's a record amount of funds available. We're almost 100% funded. It's time to take a second look at this after 20 years. So I thank you, everyone, and I look forward to responding to any questions you may have at the end of the program. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed. This year is the 100th anniversary of the New York State and local retirement system. Imagine that. 100 years of providing state and local retirees with a guaranteed pension in retirement. Our keynote speaker, New York State Comptroller Tom DiNapoli, has been overseeing the retirement system since 2007, ensuring that the third largest pension plan in the United States remains one of the best managed and best funded plans in the country, as you just heard Ed talk about. In recognition of the fund's 100 years, RPEA will present him with this plaque when we are able to meet in person. It's always an honor to have Comptroller DiNapoli with us. Here's a video message from him. Stay with us after his presentation while we answer questions you've submitted.
Hello, this is New York State Comptroller Tom DiNapoli. I'm happy to be able to join with you once again at RPEA's annual meeting. Let me begin by commending Diana Hinchcliffe for her leadership and service as president of RPEA. She is a great advocate for public retirees. I also want to applaud your terrific staff, led by Executive Director Ed Farrell, for their continued dedication and efforts on behalf of RPEA members. Let me also thank each of you and all of your RPEA brothers and sisters across our state for your government careers and commitment to public service. As RPEA members, you are the best advocates for protecting public pensions, retiree health insurance, and other important benefits that you and other public employees earned and deserve. As we all know, it's been a difficult 18 months, to say the least. We've lost too many of our neighbors, friends, and family members to the devastation of COVID-19. And while we are making progress in emerging from this pandemic, both in terms of improved public health and a recovering economy, we're not out of the woods yet. I certainly hope you and your family are well, and you are doing all that you can to stay safe. Especially during this challenging period, you deserve the peace of mind that comes with a strong and secure pension. I have good news to report to you on the state of your pension fund. Our fund went into the COVID-19 pandemic as one of the best funded state pension plans in the nation. Today, we're stronger than ever. The fund returned a record 33.55% last year and 5.8% in the first quarter of this year. It's currently valued at $268.3 billion, the highest in our history, and is 99.3% funded. That's essentially a fully funded plan, a rarity for most state retirement systems. As a result of the fund's record strength, we recently announced reductions in employer contribution rates for both the employees' retirement system and the police and fire retirement system for the 2022-2023 state fiscal year. These rate reductions will save government employers and taxpayers an estimated $1.5 billion in 2023 compared to 2022. The fund's strength gives us the ability to weather volatile markets. And as part of our strategy for long-term sustainable returns, we lowered the long-term assumed rate of return on the fund's investments from 6.8% to 5.9%. Taking a more conservative approach like this better positions us for the long term. The fact is, your state pension fund has never been stronger. And that's why if anyone tries to substitute or replace defined benefit plans with 401k defined contributions in New York, I'll continue to say, no way, not on my watch. Beyond investing, my team works to make our retirement system the best functioning in the nation. This year, as we celebrate the 100th anniversary of the New York State and local retirement system, we continue our retirement system redesign, a multi-year project to leverage technology to better serve our members and employers. A key part of that redesign is Retirement Online, that allows members to view benefit information, update their address, request a loan, manage beneficiary designations, obtain estimates of their projected pension benefits, and more. To date, more than 350,000 individuals have registered. Over the past few years, we've also made significant upgrades to our benefits administration and employer reporting systems to streamline the way employers do business with us. So that's where we stand. Your New York State pension fund is stronger and more secure than ever, and we're working hard to build a more modern, efficient retirement system that will meet the needs of our members today and into the future. As we emerge from this challenging period, I urge you to continue to join with RPEA's leadership to make your voices heard, loud and clear, on behalf of retirees and retirement security. Keep fighting, keep advocating, and rest assured, as New York State Controller, I will continue to stand with you to preserve the benefits you work so hard to secure. Best of luck with your annual meeting. Stay safe and well, and keep enjoying your retirement.
Thank you, Comptroller. Excellent report, as usual, and it's reassuring to pensioners to know that the fund is doing so well, and we commend you for doing a great job. We've had a few questions that have been submitted during the course of the program. Thank you. This has to do with the Health Act, which I referred to earlier. The question has that I don't have the confidence that the state can take over and run the entire health insurance business. I agree with you. I think it's a very scary proposition. If there were to be something similar to Medicare for all, it really would make sense for it to be enacted at the federal level. It's just crazy for New York State to try and do it on its own. This is somewhat of a follow-up. I live in Florida, but I get my health benefits from NYSHIP. If NYSHIP is eliminated, what happens to my insurance? That's what specifically is referenced in the bill that I noted. The bill says that if you are a retiree and you live out of state, you would get your insurance from where you used to get it. The problem is where you used to get it no longer exists. So this is not a well thought out plan. And these are the people who are designing this health system that they're going to throw us all into. So it's definitely not encouraging, and that's why we're against the bill. Yes, Mother? Why does the governor keep cutting Medicare benefits in his budget proposals? That's a good question. We find it difficult that every year the governor, hopefully it may change with a new governor, has put in proposals to cap the Medicare reimbursement in NYSHIP, and that's a part of because NYSHIP is in part of the state budget, and there's savings to be made. The savings are not significant, but they are significant to the people who are affected by them. So hopefully with the new governor, things may change. Tell me more about the COVID vaccine plan and why it was such a disaster. Why didn't they fix it? For all of us who are in New York and tried to get an appointment to get the vaccine back in January, you had to go online, or you could call an 800 number, which you could never get through to. The system was a disaster. We had people going all parts of the state. We had people in Albany going to Potsdam. We had people in Albany going to Plattsburgh. You would go online and it would say no appointment available. And as I said before, they would say your information was not saved. We wrote to the governor and the commissioner of health and said, we know that the vaccine is generally not in large supply and that it will be difficult to get people in, but it should be easy to get an appointment. Why don't you change the system so we could log in, get our information, and tell them that we were eligible, and when the vaccine is available and an appointment comes up, they would notify you. It's just like if you were on an airplane. You try and book a flight. Say, I'm sorry, you're on standby. And then if a seat opens up, they tell you. We got no response from the governor, nor from the health department. I must say, though, that several legislators did pick up on our proposal and say, listen, why can't people just make an appointment? It made a lot of sense. So if that's the way the state is going to run health insurance, it's not a good omen. We get this question all the time. Why do you keep talking about NISHIP? What about the rest of us? It's a good question. All state retirees who are eligible when they retire are in NISHIP. Some local governments are in NISHIP, but many are not, especially upstate counties, cities, town, villages. For the most part, do not participate in NISHIP, and retiree health insurance varies by the municipality because all their plans are different. But we do focus on NISHIP because 50% of all retirees are in there. And as it relates to RPEA membership, it's even higher because our membership skews a little more on the state side than on the local side. So we do talk about it. We know you're out there, and if you call us, and we will try and help you with any questions you may have with your particular plan. Can you tell us about some of the discount programs that are available if you are an RPA member? Yes, we can do that. Sharon Beauregard, one of our specialists on health benefits and other benefits, is here in studio, and I'm going to ask her to respond to this question. Sharon?
Good morning. We do offer benefits through RPEA at a reduced rate. That is our dental and vision benefits. Our plan administrator worksite benefits does handle that part of our benefit program. You would contact us and we would reach out to worksite benefits, and they would then provide you information on the 3 dental plans that we offer, which are Emblem Health, MetLife, and we have a supplemental plan, AYS. So contact us and we will reach out to worksite benefits, and then they will send you the information that you need. We also offer homeowners, renters, and auto insurance through Liberty Mutual. And the final one that I'll talk about is the hearing aid benefit, and that is offered through Here in America. Just call our member helpline at RPEA and we will provide you with the information that you need at that time. Thank you, Ed.
Thank you, Sharon. In addition to that, what Sharon referred to at the end, probably the best benefit you get from being a member of RPA, besides what we do on the lobbying and advocacy side, is that if you have a problem, you can call us. If it's related to pension questions or health insurance, et cetera, and you can talk to a real person. You can talk to Sharon. You can talk to Louise in the office. And people get back to you quickly. And That's huge. When you are a retiree, you're out there. You're on your own pretty much. If you have a problem, who do you call? You can call us, and you can actually have a live person answer the phone. So that's a huge benefit. This question came in from somebody who's following us on Facebook. How can local chapters lobby elected officials like they have in the past? I referenced in the beginning of my legislative piece that advocacy is very difficult to do in person. Our lobbyists last year had to do what they were doing remotely, or there were Zoom meetings. There was the Capitol was closed, so there was no in-person lobbying. As a matter of fact, when I testified before the legislative committees regarding the budget, I had to do it by Zoom, sitting in my office testifying before the committee. So we're optimistic that when things change with the virus and there is more in-person meetings, the chapters will be able to advocate at the local level with their local officials, which is the most effective way to get our message out. But we're going to have to take our cue from the pandemic and how things go. But when things open up, we'll be ready to go. Couple more. What are the chances of getting a better COLA? I would say we are cautiously optimistic, but it's going to be difficult because it's expensive. 20 years ago, we're close to where we were 20 years ago, which was things came together at a time when the pension system actually was overfunded. The employer contribution rate was zero. It was flush with money because of investments made during the time when Clinton was president and the stock market boomed. And accordingly, the assets in the system boomed with it. So we're close to 100. We're 99.3%. It's an appropriate time to talk about it. But when we do get the opportunity for you to talk to your legislators, this would be something to raise because it would have to be the legislature that would enact it. And what I believe is the last question here. It's a good question. Climate change is real. Why would RPEA oppose the carbon tax? As I said earlier, retirees who are on a fixed income, especially if you're upstate, use your car because you have to. And to put a tax on your gas at a time when there is no viable alternative is just not reasonable. And as it relates to heating your home, there are no long-term alternatives on the table at this time. People use natural gas. They use propane. Some people still use oil. But there are no large-scale alternatives. And we're talking about things that are down the road. So if you want to impose this tax now and have the majority of the money have nothing to do with climate change, that just makes no sense. So perhaps a carbon tax is not the way to go. Maybe we should do something that's more progressive. Maybe we should do something related to the income tax or a surcharge where people are paying because they can afford to pay as opposed to everyone else. There's a vast majority of the population that's not going to be predominantly impacted by this carbon tax. If you don't have a car, you're not paying the extra 55 cents. And a lot of people, especially in New York City, have alternatives to cars. They have a subway system. New York City has roughly 50% of the state's population, but they only have 20% of the cars. So it predominantly is not going to impact them. And a lot of people in the city are not individually metered for their heating their apartments, because according to the multiple dwelling law, it's the responsibility of the landlord to provide heat. So it's going to hit predominantly upstate because there are no alternatives at this point. So if we want to get serious and we want to raise money for climate change, we should do something that's more progressive. So that's the last question we have. Thank you all who've been watching, and thank you for those who submitted questions. And I turn it over to Diana.
Thanks, Ed and Sharon, for those answers. And if you think of other questions when the meeting is over, please email us or call us. You'll find our contact information on our website, rpea.org. So that's it. The entire meeting will be posted on our website at rpea.org and on our public Facebook page at facebook.com/RPEANY. Thank you again to our sponsors, Worksite Benefits and Here in America. And please, if you'd like to join our organization, again, go to our website and you'll find all the information you need. Thank you for being with us today, and please stay safe.